Hi, thanks for tuning in. I'm Dominic Nicoli with the Los Altos Intero Real Estate Office. We're going to spend the next 20 to 30 minutes learning how to handle objections. So thanks for tuning in. So I've been doing this class for Intero for the last several years, and really it's one of my favorite topics in all the whole conversation of real estate. One of the reasons I love it so much is really objection handling is where this is the time where a customer is either going to make one of two decisions. They're either going to agree to meet with you, they're going to agree to sign a contract to do business with you, or it's going to blow up in your face and it's going to be over. And to me, that's always the most exciting part of the transaction. It's the key moment. And we're going to learn today how to absolutely use some techniques and some tips that will help you convert more sales. At the end of the time today, my goal is to give you literally tools for your tool chest that you can take out and start using effective today. We're going to cover this class really in two parts. The first part is going to be what I call objection awareness. We're going to learn about objection handling, the process, what's involved in it. And the second part is going to be the dialogues, the scripts that you'll need that you can actually go out and use in the field today. When I start doing this class, a lot of times many people say to me, give me this, they want the words to say. They think it's all about the words. And as I explain to people a lot, to me, objection handling is really done in most cases before we get to that point. It's all the build-up. It's all the things that we do to pave the way on a great transaction. And the most successful transactions, as many of the veterans know in the business, you come to the end of your presentation and the close is just smooth and natural. And that's really, if you're a great objection handler, you'll actually learn to be able to not get objections. And that's really what we're going to try to talk about today. So the first part of this, I asked the question, what really is an objection? And I looked up in the dictionary what an objection is, and the first word that it came up with, the definition that it gave me, was a statement presented in opposition. So, and then it said the word resistance. So I looked up resistance. It said a force that tends to oppose. I looked up oppose. It said to be in conflict with. So really when we look at it, we're talking about opposition, conflict, and resistance, and that is not a great place to get a contract signed or agree to have a prospect come over to agree to have us come over and meet with them. So I looked up the opposite of those words and I came up with the words peace, agreement, and harmony. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because that is the state that we want to be in with our client, where they are going to want to actually do business with us, okay? So we're going to talk about those things a lot. How does the news media characterized and painted the real estate profession? I mean, we all know, and I ask in the class every single time, I say, gosh, guys, what are the words that you think of when you think of a real estate salesperson? Okay, and everybody always laughs and jokes, but the words they come up with are things like slime ball, fast talker, don't trust them, do anything they can to get you to, sign a contract, those types of things. And I always ask the audience, I always say every single time, I say, how many of you out there are, slime ball, fast talkers looking to, bilk your clients out of money? And nobody has ever in the history raised their hand. But unfortunately, the media puts us with, attorneys and, car salesmen. They kind of lump us all together in some cases. So we really have to understand that when we go in to meet with the prospect, that, that's just what they're conditioned to think about. And of course, we know you and I aren't like that. So our job really is to convince the client that we're different. Okay? And one of the most rewarding things about working with great clients is when they discover that you are different, because I know you are. So when we know that the general public has such a low perception of salespeople, what do we have to do to get them to, think differently about us? And I wrote down this question. I wrote down, what does the stealth bomber do? Okay? And we all know the stealth bomber actually can fly and not be perceived by radar. So think of the sellers as having this salesperson radar that comes up whenever they're in a selling situation. The first thing they're saying is, oh my gosh, we're going to be sold. We don't want to sign anything, don't do anything, and I don't believe anything that this person says. That's how they're just conditioned to deal with all salespeople in general. So what we're going to do is we're going to literally learn how to get underneath their sales radar, to get them thinking that, wow, this person is different. This person is not like all the rest. This person's not like what I've heard about salespeople. So I wrote down this thought, just as when a great salesperson has sold you. All right, and think back real quick before we get to the thought. Think back to the last time that you were sold by somebody really great. Think about it. What was that process like for you? How did it feel? Okay? Did you feel pressured? Did you feel like you were helped? Okay? What did you want to do when that sales transaction was completed? In most cases, I bet you wanted to refer that salesperson to your friends and family and said, hey, this guy did a great job or this gal did a great job. You should go and do business with them. And that's really what we want the result with our clients to be as well. So I wrote this down. When a great salesperson has sold you, you don't even realize it. In fact, the better the salesperson, the less that you actually feel like you got sold. In fact, you feel like you didn't get sold, but they got the deal. And if they're really good, you'll end up liking, trusting, and wanting to refer them to people. So I don't know about you, but besides me, that to me is really what it's all about. So I hope that makes sense. A great pre-listing package, thorough, complete, lots of data, simple and short. Okay? Resist the temptation. I see so many of them that end up being a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch thick, and the problem when you do that is you'll show up and they won't even have looked at it because it's just too overwhelming. All right? Also remember, if they're getting yours, there's a good chance they may be getting other people's too. So keep it simple. All right. The next thought, handling objections. You have to understand the fact that in the sales profession, okay, they are judging you, they are analyzing you, they are reading you from the minute they see you, okay, the minute they actually hear you on the phone, then when you get there, the minute they see you, they're looking at everything you're doing. You have to understand that. So as a newer agent, you want to put those things in your favor. So what do? Well, you should always be well dressed. You should always be prepared. You should always be on time. Being on time is a sign of respect. Being late is a sign of disrespect. Don't be late, okay? Common sense. You know what they say, common sense is not always that common. So, things like that. I always recommend that you show up maybe about 5 minutes early, sit in your car, review your notes, review your market analysis. Okay, let them see you sitting in front of their house. Okay, let them know that you're prepared, that you're early. It's a great thing to do. Okay, don't be too early, otherwise it kind of gets weird. Okay, so anyway. All right. So the next thing, and this ties in again to being judged, but I just wrote down, you must be prepared, be educated, be professional. So think about this, and I always say this in the class. How many of you would be thrilled to do 25 transactions in your first year if you're a new agent? Most people raise their hand, they say, oh my gosh, that would be great. Well, think about this then. If you want to do 25 transactions a year, you basically need to go on 1 listing appointment per week, or 4 per month. Okay, if you go on 4 per month and you have a 50% closing ratio, which you should if you use our system, you're going to take 2 listings per month. If you take 2 listings per month, one of the magic things in real estate is you will typically sell 2 listings a month. All right, almost always comes out about equal on that. Okay, so think of it like that. Now, if you have one, you have to go on 1 listing presentation a week. Take the time. Make sure you go out. Spend the time. Go look at the comps in the neighborhood. Go look at the neighborhood. Go look at the house. Spend some time before, a couple of days before. Make sure when you show up, you are the most prepared person that they've met with. Even if you're brand new, you can still do all the legwork. You can do all the upfront work. And right there, it's going to give you an advantage over your competition. So, take the time, invest the time. All right.